Oh, I'm live. I'm live. This. Oh my goodness! It comes up right on the screen. You are live. Oh, good. Then I don't even have to look for the little button. Then good morning, everybody. Yes, we are live once again. Here it is Thursday morning, and it's going to be a good news day today. I'm hoping. I have no idea what I look like on screen. Michelle, am I all right? Do I need
You're
to
nice
move
and even.
left, right,
You are good to go.
which way? Okay then. All right. So good morning, everybody. All right. So I think I'll save the newsy bit till a little bit later on in the show, but we do have some interesting news for all of you. But first of all, I just would like to mention the competition. We are having such a lot of fun with this competition because it's amazing. We're getting so many emails. We're getting so many, sort of unusual superstitions, most of which I haven't heard of. Some I did hear of. For instance, it's bad luck to drive a green car. I don't know if that's got something to do with the fact that certainly in England, green cars are racing, dark green are racing colours. I've no idea. And sort of things like salt over the shoulder. I think we mentioned that last week. All sorts of things. And uh, while I mentioned salt, I was not going to mention this one, but and because somebody's already sent it in, and they are the first. If we choose this one, nobody else can use it. It goes to the first person who sends it in. So I think it was Kitty who sent in the fact that her grandmother, was it Michelle?
Mm-hmm.
Her grandmother would put salt in their
New
shoes.
Easter shoes.
Easter shoes. New Easter shoes to keep out all of those nasty little evil spirits or what have you. So I've never heard of that one before. I'm so sorry because I'm sort of diving into that. So let's first of all say good morning to Grey, can we? It's not that I've forgotten it. It's just that I'm so excited about this competition. So let's say first of all good morning to Grey Eagle. We're going to say good morning to this little thing that's laid on the sofa next to me who's sound asleep, but he's doing really, really well. And, so Kachoro he's sound asleep. He doesn't even know we're doing the show. And of course, also to my left, we have our lovely Michelle. Say good morning, Michelle. She's always got a bright and sunny smile on her face. Say good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
So, we're hoping. Do we actually have anyone? I mean,
we have
did people
13 on right now?
So good. So we do have people who have found us. So that's okay then. I'm just going to keep talking then. All right. So the competition. You do have to going to reiterate the rules. You do have to, if you want to participate, you have to be a subscriber to YouTube. It costs you nothing to subscribe. All you have to do is click a little button. And I've subscribed to things from time to time, and I don't really see any difference between subscribing or not subscribing. There must be, I suppose, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, so click that little button to subscribe, and once you subscribe, you are eligible to join this competition, which is, let me do it again. We talked last week about superstitions. It was Friday the 13th, but it was also, was it Friday? No, it was Friday the 13th, sorry, last Friday. And it was also a full moon. So on our Everything is Attitude show, we did talk quite a bit about that, but we did talk about superstitions also on Thursday. Halloween is coming up. Our competition, we need all of the entries in before whatever it is. What date is it? The 25th or 26th or something? Anyway, we need them in before the Thursday show before Halloween. We shall give you that date in a minute because we forgot to write it down. And all you have to do is write in, just send us an email, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. Send us that email and just write in any superstition that you might know of. We're getting some very strange and unusual ones and some very interesting ones. And of course, being a wordie and being a person who is very curious about history, and particularly English history. I wonder why that would be, but particularly English history. I always want to know the origins of these superstitions as well. So, if you've heard of a superstition, or you yourself or your family had a superstitious thing going on, if you know the origin of that superstition, I'd love to know that information as well. You don't have to send it in. You don't have to send in the origin if you don't want to, but I'd love to have it. So the one, aside from the salt in the shoe sent from Kitty, thank you very much. It's certainly going into the pot, Kitty. So aside from that, we're going to also be talking about another superstition which was sent in to us by Dustin. And Dustin actually has a personal relationship to Michelle, but still, he's still eligible if he's clicked on, if he's subscribed, he's eligible. But anyway, all right, so here is the deal now. So this superstition is all about bells on motorbikes. So there's a superstition that if you tie a bell to the bottom, to the lowest part of your motorbike, all those little gremlins that are on the road that like to cause problems, they actually get trapped in the bell, and the bell rings so loud it gives them a headache or something, and they dive off and they disappear and off they go, and never to be seen again, and the bell gets rid of them. I've never heard of that superstition. I do think it's a fascinating superstition. We're not quite sure where the origin comes in, but it does remind me that, in olden days, in medieval times, before they were able to diagnose doctors' stuff going on, and people would go into comas sometimes, and people would go into, sort of collapses and things. And what they used to do, because they were never quite sure if a person had died or they were just in a coma, and of course if they didn't have the equipment to tell whether or not that was true, what they used to do was they used to actually tie a bell to a person's toe before they buried that person, and then they would sit vigil maybe for 3 or 4 days, and if the bell rang, the person in the coffin or wrapped in the cloth or however they buried them, the person would be awake and alive and kicking, so to speak. So I think that's where the alive and kicking comes from, because they would kick hard enough that the bell would ring, and then you would know that they were alive, and so on. But I mean, that's not a superstition, that's a fact. But bells do have these superstitious connotations from time to time. In different countries they have different superstitions. So the bike thing was very interesting. Also, there are certain rules to the bell. Apparently you have to be given the bell by someone who loves you or who cares about you. You can't buy it for yourself and put it on, so it has to be given to you. And also, if you sell your bike, you can't sell it with the bell on it. You can't transfer the bell to someone else. The gremlins will ignore you completely if you try to transfer it. So that's I like that. I do like that. It's a quirky superstition. So anyway, keep them coming, because we're having lots and lots and lots and lots of fun with that. We're going to have a couple of questions, and then as we get going and more people find us, I'm going to give you our news. Newsy. We've got some exciting news coming up. So, all right. So, Michelle.
Okay, the only other thing is that the due date for the Superstitions contest is October 24th.
Okay, so the due date is October 24th, which is
Thursday.
this next Thursday.
No.
So
We're still in September. Next month.
Oh, October.
October 24th.
Oh, we got, all right, then. We got a month and something. All right, well, but still, we want those superstitions coming in. Let's get them coming in, please. All right, so really, I'm thinking it's the end of this month, and it's not, is it?
No,
Halloween
it's next
is the
month.
following month. Goodness me, I'm all of a quiver. Right, and also while we're on the subject of, information giving, there are a lot of people who email us, and they're concerned because they don't get information. They like to have information about the different things that we're doing and the different things that are going on with us. we don't automatically, just because you send us an email does not mean that you are automatically on our mailing list. We don't do that because people don't like it. People don't like to get emails unless they've specifically asked for them. So please, if you want to be on our email mailing list, and in order to participate with the stuff that's coming up, and in order to be able to find us, and in order to be able to have information about us and what we're up to and what we're doing, and when I say we, I mean Grey Eagle and I in the spirit world, and of course Michelle is part of that, and my friend Chris is part of that, and Al is part of that. There are lots of people who are part of that. So it's I'm not using the royal we. Do you know what the royal we is, Michelle? Mm-hmm. No, the royal we is when the Queen says, "We are not pleased," meaning she's not pleased. It's the royal we. She refers to herself as we. Anyway, just that's another little piece of information right there. Anyway, if you want to have that information about us, if you want to keep abreast of what we're doing, and I think a lot of you will, especially when I tell you the news in a little bit, if you want to keep abreast of what we are doing, then you do need to be on our mailing list. So you need to email us. Simply, you can just send us an email with the subject, "Put me on the mailing list," or you can ask nicely, but the subject should be mailing list, and just then say, "Please put me on your mailing list." And immediately as you're on the mailing list, we use this company that we create the email, and then it just goes zoomf out there every month to whoever is on the mailing list. If you're not on my mailing list, you must request it. We are not about to put you on there without you actually asking to be put on. So please do that. So again, I'm going to give you the email. If you want to participate in this competition, in the subject line should be either competition, contest, or superstitions or something like that. Just put that in the subject line so that we do know then what it is we're dealing with, and Michelle can put them all into a folder. She just sees that on the top, slips it into a folder, and then we deal with that in the right time. All right, let's have a question. Do we have anybody participating at all? Go for it then.
Yes. Miss Mary is here.
Morning, Miss Mary.
And she says, around the time that my loved one passed, a rat moved into my house.
Oh, nice.
I've tried to get rid of it, but cannot. Does Grey Eagle know how I can get rid of the rat or what to do?
This is the moment I show my true colours, because I know you all think I'm a wonderfully spiritual person, but I hate rats. So I'm going to suggest warfarin. I can hear you, all of you. Oh, no. Catch it and put it out into the wild, where it will only come right back either into your house or somebody else's house. I was overrun with rats a few times. I have a great rat story that I might tell later on, we'll see. But remind me, Michelle, can you, if we have time, or if there's a lull, or nobody's asking questions, I'll tell you my rat story, which was just an amazing story. So I would say that you need a rat catcher, my love, because they start to breed. If you're not careful and you don't get rid of it, you're going to be overrun with them. So don't mess about, or as I would say in my beautiful English, don't muck about, darling. Right, let's have our next question.
Albertine's on.
Morning, Albertine.
And she says, good morning, Rosemary.
Good morning.
Are there any hospitals in the spirit world where people can recover after a bed of sickness here on Earth?
Yes, I don't know if they would call them hospitals as such, but there are places of rest. There are places where you can go for peace and harmony. A lot of people, it's not about the physical illness anymore. It's much more about the spiritual. And it's funny that we're talking about healing, because that's part of our news today. So we'll go back to that in a few minutes. But there are places of rest. There are places where you can find peace and harmony, because a lot of people, you know, who have illnesses, for instance, someone's ravaged with cancer and they've had a 5 or even 10 year battle, or sometimes even longer. They're emotional, they're spiritual, their psychic, their mental capacity is so drained, they're so exhausted and so tired, that very often people do need to have those places where they can rest, where they can recoup, where they can find peace and harmony. So, not sure if they call them hospitals. I'm listening to Grey Eagle. He has his hand on my shoulder. They are, I would say, more. I'm laughing about this because they're more like, he says, resting places. Now, when we lose someone or when we bury someone, we tend to say rest in peace. And we think, we mean like for eternity. People who pass don't rest in peace, but some of them do need to rest in peace for a short while until they've recouped, and then they can explore again and learn again and begin again. Next question.
We have a question from Adriana.
Good morning, Adriana.
And she asks, how do you know when they want something from you? So I just sent her a message asking if it was the spirit world. How do you know if the spirit world wants something from you?
I would think so. Is she asking me specifically? Is she?
Mhm.
So they tap me on the shoulder is how I know. They tap me on the shoulder, or we have a conversation. Use it for other people if it's a more general question. How does anybody know? Use your instincts. Use your, you've got to learn to become more in tune. You've got to be learn to become more aware, more in tune, and more sensitive to what is going on within your own self, within your own soul, and also out there. Our online classes are all about learning to become more in tune, learning to become more at one with your soul and at one with the spirit world. When I say at one with, watch my fingers, right? When we're connecting with the spirit world, when we're connecting with anybody, actually, whether it's in the spirit world or where it's here, when we're trying to communicate, this is what happens so often. We try to come together, but we miss, and we miss, and we almost get there, but we keep missing. When you've got it right, this is what happens: a joining, a connection, a communication, and an understanding. And that's about communicating not just with those in the spirit world, but with all of us, with your children. When I communicate with my grandson, for instance, we do this because it's an automatic thing. And it's that same feeling when you have those connections. It's that same feeling when you're listening to the spirit world, or when someone in the spirit world is trying to get hold of you. They will do that. If you're in tune and you're open, and they'll do that. There's a joining. Sometimes, of course, with my daughter, we do this. Sometimes we kind of miss, and she gets annoyed with me, or I get annoyed with her. That's our humanness. But when you do that, you feel it. It's something that happens within you. So that's what you're looking for.
She says that they touch her left shoulder.
Yeah, great. Then then they'll often I get tapped on the right shoulder. I see my sort of seems to come from here. Although when I'm looking from my, it's weird really, isn't it? I look from my left, well actually left, right, and everywhere. But I tend to sort of, it's almost like it's coming in sideways instead of going diagonally, because I'll see from the left, but I'll hear from the right. And Grey Eagle always will stand to my right side, as he's doing now.
Peggy would like to know.
Morning, Peggy.
She says, hi, Rosemary. Do you believe that hell exists?
I do believe that there are dark forces, and I do believe that there are dark places. The same as heaven. You could call it hell, you could call it darkness, you could call it whatever it is you want to call it. But our universe is balanced. So where there's light, there's dark, and so on. I do, however, believe that the light always wins. The brightness and the light can always dispel the darkness. And I'll give you my example. You have two rooms. You have, and they're next to each other. You have a room that is filled with bright, bright light, totally. And you have a room which is completely dark, absolutely dark. If you knock a hole through between the two, or you open a door between the two rooms, the light literally spills in and washes away that darkness, gets rid of that darkness, because it is the stronger force, it is the stronger energy. You never see the dark overtaking the light, you always see the light overtaking the dark. So yes, I do believe there are dark forces, and in fact, if you have read my soul signs book, I do mention that there are dark souls. Any of us who has any common sense, who doesn't want to live in fairyland, will know that there are not always good people on this earth. Some people simply are drawn into the negative. They're good people. They are of light and that light force, and they are of God. But they get, for whatever reason, get drawn into that darkness, get drawn into that dark place. But there are also occasionally, not so often, thank goodness, a smaller much smaller minority of people who are dark souls, who have come to this earth for the same reason that we do. They've come to learn, they've come to grow, they've come to discover. But whereas the majority of us have come to learn and grow through the light and through God, these dark souls have come to learn through the darkness. Their objective is to become more dark and to learn more and more how to become more dark. It's a fact of life. Take a look around the world. Take a look at the wars that have been fought. Take a look at people like Pol Pot. Take a look at people like, Hitler is, take a look at all of those people who are just purely evil. And this is a tough subject, really. In so many ways, I did not want to accept. For years and years and years, I thought everybody on this planet, has a little bit of God in them, has a little bit of light in them. I couldn't come to terms with the fact that people did not have that light until Soul Signs and until Grey Eagle felt that I was ready to understand and ready to learn and ready to grow. I myself have faced evil. I myself have fought evil. And let me tell you, it is not a good place to be. Nobody in the right mind would willingly go there. The reason that I was put into this position on more than one occasion, unfortunately, but I was put in this position so that I could learn and so that I could grow and learn how to deal with that negativity, learn how to deal with that evil, and to understand that it cannot touch me unless I allow it to, unless I allow it to come into me. In other words, if I invite it in, which of course I'm never going to do. And because I am of the light, and because I am filled with the love and the light of God, I have no qualms about my strength and my ability to fight whatever evils are out there. Let's have another question. Can we have a lighter, brighter question now, please? Michelle, are you all right? Is your hip bothering you, my love?
It's actually not my hip. I felt like I was hunched
Is it
over.
your bum?
I felt like I was like hunched over, so I wanted to straighten up for a minute.
All right.
Well, let's see. We have Dean is on this morning.
Morning,
He says
morning.
hello.
Morning.
Chris is on this morning.
Morning.
Nettie is on this morning.
Morning.
Kitty is on this morning.
Morning.
Just wanted to give a couple of shout outs to some of our regulars.
Good, good. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, I'm getting there. I had to refresh.
Good.
Joanne is on.
Good morning,
And she
Joanne.
says, "Good morning, Rosemary. My cousin passed a month ago suddenly, and I was heartbroken for she and I had a misunderstanding and didn't speak to each other.
Oh.
She says she wants to know if does she have anything to say to me?
Um, this happens so often. Because we're human, we do not realize how, we know if we're having conversations about it, we know if on some sort of on an intellectual level, we know that life is fragile. We know that this physical body of ours can be harmed, can be damaged in a heartbeat. We know that we are, as human beings, extremely vulnerable in this area, but yet because of our humanness, we still fight, we still argue, we still think that we've got all the time in the world to fix things. And I always say to people, if you have an issue with someone, do not let it sit and stew. Don't worry about pride. Don't worry about, well, she started it, so it's up to her to apologize to me. Do not go there, because you never know. Life is very short, can be taken away, can be changed in like that, right? We know that, don't we? So, please, 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 if you're, this is a really good example. And as for, who is this I'm talking to?
Joanne.
Joanne. I thought it was, but I wasn't entirely sure. As for you, Joanne, please don't worry. I'm asking Grey Eagle, should you actually worry? I think that you have your regrets, and I think she has hers, but get together with her, talk to her. She can hear you. She's she'll be with you. She'll be listening to you. Don't beat yourself up about it. You were human. Oh gosh, imagine that we could be human. You are human with your human faults and failings, as is she. It's fine. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just make sure that, in the future, if you have an argument or an issue with someone, the old adage, never go to bed on an argument, never go to bed on a fight, always kiss and make up, even if it have to grit your teeth to do it, because sometimes it's just so much easier to just lie there and sulk, isn't it? And and we all like to do that, don't we? So, but just please don't do it, everybody. I'm giving myself this same lecture. Don't do it. It's not worth it, because life changes in a heartbeat. You could lie on the floor if it feels more comfortable for you, Michelle.
I'm okay. I just felt like I was hunched.
Okay, all right. So let's have our next question, and then I'm going to give you the news.
Mary asked a question.
Yes, Mary.
And she says, is Donald Trump an evil leader?
Okay, Mary, I love you. I love the question. We all know that there are people out there who are not so nice, don't we? Evil is a whole other thing. Evil is something which is completely different and applies a whole different rules. So some people are really not nice, and some people are worse than not nice. But evil is a whole other thing. So do I think that he is an evil person? No. Do I think that there are evil things that happen in the world? Yes. Do I think that sometimes good people or people with good intentions promote evil despite themselves or not realizing? Yes, of course I do. But people who are, let's say, misguided, or people who aren't so nice, or I always feel quite sorry for them, because I feel, what must it be like to be so unloved, and to have all those people who simply do not love you. I wouldn't like that. Wouldn't like that energy surrounding me. So I always tend to feel that more inclined to send healing to these people, and to send our healing prayers to those people, than condemn and judge. I'm not in them, and I'm not in the business of judging, Mary. I do understand why you asked the question, but at the same time, be careful not to judge, because you really don't know all the ins and outs of it, do you? Nor do I. And also, politics is not my game. I refuse to get involved. One more question. Do we have one more question?
Joanne said, thank you. You're so right. A lesson learned.
So, don't you hate it? Somebody's right. You really wanted me to say, oh God, isn't he awful? Isn't he really a horrible? Yeah, I'm not going there, and you shouldn't go there, darling, because what happens is you just draw that negative energy into you and around you, and is he worth it? Is anybody worth that? No, I don't think so. Right. let's go for the news. I'm going to give you this news. I'm going to be talking a little bit about what we are planning on doing beginning next week. Yes, even that shorter time, next week. So, as you all know, every Thursday morning, or maybe some of you don't know, but anyway, on every Thursday morning before we do our YouTube show, I spend probably a few minutes, 5 minutes, talking to people, sending out healing, giving, just sending a healing prayer out. And I ask anybody who wants to join can join. We do that, and it's a little thing that we do on Facebook. I always say the healing prayer, and I like to think that it's a hands around the world sort of thing, because we do have people who, I've been very fortunate and I've traveled all around the world, and I have books out all around the world. So I always refer to this healing session as hands around the world, because it's about joining hands, connecting with each other, and sending out healing to all of those people who are on our healing list. Now, we have a healing page, which I think we're on at the moment. Are we? No, we're
on YouTube.
Oh yeah, we are. Sorry, we're on YouTube, but we do use our healing page for Everything is Attitude. So it's the same page. Where you find Everything is Attitude is where you will find this new thing that we're going to be doing. We're going to have a couple of trial runs, Michelle and I, because I do need someone with me. I know some people like to do it all by themselves, but I need someone with me, because number one, as I'm talking, as I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm not inclined to want to read other people's questions. I'm not inclined to want to read all those things that keep coming up on the right hand side of the screen, because it distracts me. If I'm reading what you're writing to me, it just distracts me, which is why we have Michelle here to sort of read your questions for you, because I'd rather not be distracted. And also, to be honest with you, even with my glasses on, I'd be peering like this in the screen all the time, and you wouldn't really want that, would you? Because, then, I'd just be completely distracted, pulling funny faces, and it just wouldn't work. So, starting from next week, we are going to be doing a Hands Around the World healing session. Now, what is that? What does that mean? It means that if you are either somebody who'd like to know more about healing, someone who'd like to learn about how healing is done, or if you are someone who would like healing for yourself, and you can be all three of those actually, or you'd like healing for yourself, it means that what I'm going to do, and I've done this in large groups on many, many, many occasions. I've done it for the Akwesasne tribe which is in Canada. If I start to say where I've done it, or I've done it all over the place. In our healing centre, if we had too many patients come all at once and there weren't enough healers to take each individual patient, I would have everyone sitting around in a circle, and we would do a joint healing session. Now, doing a healing session in this way and sending out healing to groups of people, crowds of people, what you need to do is you need to help them and encourage those people to participate with you, to connect with you, and I'm talking energy wise, to connect with you. So I'm going to, in this I loathe to call it a show, but in this healing session that we're going to do, these healing sessions that we're going to do, I am going to say, it's not going to cost you anything. It's free. Just get on Facebook. We'll let you know. And especially if you are on our mailing list. And I did say to you earlier on, if you want to know when we're going to do it, if you want to know how to participate, if you want to know what we're going to be doing and what we're up to, please email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, and say, put me on the mailing list, please. All right, and then you'll be on the mailing list, and we'll send you out notifications. We don't send notifications out every minute of every day. You know those things that keep coming and coming and coming all the time? We don't do that. We send our notifications out once or twice a week maximum. So if you want to participate, again, as a healer, as someone who'd like to know more about healing or how to do healing, or as a patient, as somebody who requires healing. You can be all three of those things, or simply if you don't want to know anything about healing, you just want to participate. You just want to feel something or get some healing in some way or another. You can join. All you have to do is click on Facebook. It will say, I think, live, right? Rosemary is live now or something on Facebook. I think, is that what it says, Michelle? Something like that? We're not entirely sure.
Yeah, it does send you a notification if you follow that page.
Right. So follow that page and follow me and, sort of
get added to the email list.
Join as a friend, get added to the email list, and you'll know exactly when to tune in. So let's say, I'm not saying that this is what we're going to be doing, but let's say next Wednesday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something, Michelle and I are going to be tuning into Facebook. I am going to be doing at least 45 minutes. We're trying to do this every week if we can. We're not promising every week, but we're going to try to do it every week if we can. And it's going to be literally, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk you through it. I'm going to show you how you can literally connect with me and join with my energy, so that my energy will bounce back to you. You will be literally enveloped in my energy. This is not a new thing by any means whatsoever, but it's a way of my being able to, in a big way, send healing out to all of you, all of those in need. But we'll also be talking about how it's done. I'll be talking you through the process as we go along, and I'll be sending out healing. If you require, or you feel that you want to put your name down on our healing list, our healing page has the capability for you to put your name down on our list. So we'll be sending healing to all of those who are on our healing list, which you'll find on this healing Facebook page. But you will also, even if you don't want to be on the list, if you just tune in to the Facebook when I'm on live, and then I'll show you how to tune into me too. I'll be sending you healing. Again, it's free. We're going to try it. And also, so the healing itself will probably last, I don't know, maybe we'll have to see, 5 or 10 minutes, something like that. But then you will have an opportunity to write in, to sort of put down your comments. Did you feel anything? How do I do this, Rosemary? Or I've got a friend who has arthritis, Rosemary. You'll be able to ask all sorts of questions, any questions you like concerning healing. Now remember, though, I'm not a doctor. Don't ask me any medical stuff. Or if you do ask me medical stuff, I will say to you, healing works. If you're really sick, healing works really, really well when you combine what the medical profession has to give you with what we have to give you. I always tell people, many years ago, if it were not for the medical profession, I would not be here. I would have been dead when I was 20 something. And even had it not been for the medical profession, throughout my life, needing the medical profession, needing medical expertise, please do not dismiss it. Do not just brush it out of hand, because science, the medical stuff, goes hand in hand with that spiritual stuff that we have. The two things together work very well. And in fact, I will not take on a patient unless that patient does go and seek medical help. It's called common sense. People who dismiss it and say, no, I just want to go the natural way, that's okay. That's okay if it works for you, but I'm not advocating that. So anyway, back to what we're doing. So Michelle and I are going to, please email us or watch on Facebook, watch for the notifications. We will be I think it's going to be next Wednesday, will be our first, we're going to have a test run, but I'll be sending you healing. And again, if you would like your name mentioned through that healing session, you need to write into us, or you need to be on our mailing list. But I will show you how to connect. I will show you how to connect with the healer. I will show you what happens. I will show you how to sit. I will show you how to breathe. I'll show you all of that stuff that we do. It will be literally like a virtual healing room. Years ago, and for years and years and years, for over 50 years, I've been a spiritual healer, and we've had healing centers all over England. We've had, people come to my house for healing. I go out to give healing. This is going to be the virtual healing experience. We're also, don't get too excited now, but we're also going to be including at some point down the line healing for pets. And I'm going to be showing you, there's a possibility that I'll be showing you how to give healing to your animals, to your pets, because they're helpless little creatures, and so if we can help them, of course, we will. What do we do if we're going to give somebody healing? If we're going to give our loved one who's in the hospital, if we're going to give them healing, what do we do then? How do we do this? And how can we ourselves get healing? And I advocate absolute selfishness in my healers and in my patients. In this hour, it's going to be all about you, and you, and you, and you again. You're going to be able to have that me, I want it for me time, because we need to heal ourselves. In order to be able to heal others, we need to heal ourselves. So all of you out there, potential healers, or potentially wanting to know more about healing, this is your moment. This entire hour can be a completely selfish, self-indulgent moment for you, because I advocate that selfishness, provided you're not hurting other people, provided you're not walking all over everybody else in order to get there. But healing is, just, you need to absorb it. It needs to be about you. It needs to be all about what it is that you need in that moment. So again, please email if you want to participate. Email if you want the emails being sent out to you. And again, I will reiterate, we do not send them out every day. We do not send them out every 5 minutes in every day. So you're not going to be inundated with our emails. Maybe once or twice a week or something. Mm-hmm. We send them out to you, so you can keep abreast of what's going on. So our hands around the world healing sessions are taking on an extra something. What is it, that extra something? It's me spending time with you. Yes, all about you. It's me spending that time with you, showing you how you can give yourself healing, showing you how best to absorb that healing, showing you how best to, sort of take that healing in. Remember, we're not advocating miracles. Healing works for some. Healing works for all of us, actually, but sometimes we don't always see it. Sometimes it works in a way that is unusual for us, or not expected. Again, we're going to be talking about all of those things. So if you have questions, if you want to participate, if you want your name down, if you want to be put on my healing list, now is the time to do it, because on Wednesday in the afternoon, Michelle and I are going to be doing our first practice run at this. We're going to see how we go and how we do, so we're looking forward to all of you participating. Do we have any comments, anybody wanting to say anything about this?
Well, we have questions starting.
Good.
Andrea wants to know if you believe in karma.
Sometimes too long a subject to go into right now. Sorry. What sort of? I suppose I do. I had a dog I named Karma, and he was my karma. We were meant to be. So I suppose I do, actually, in a way. Next question.
And then we have Kelly.
Morning, Kelly.
Would like to know, are there alternate dimensions real?
I I think so. Um, I've read an awful lot about, or had heard a lot of people's opinions about the different levels and the 7 levels and the 13 levels and all of that. I don't really buy into that. I'm looking to Grey Eagle, who is with me on that. I think it's far more complex. Than, we're human, so we like to put things in boxes, don't we? We like to sort of have those, little boxes ticked so that we can understand them. If we can just remember that, when we're kids at school, I'm thinking of my grandson, he's 6 years old. He reads, he could actually, as his teacher said to me the last time we went to school, she says, I've no doubt he can read the New York Times newspaper. Does he understand it? Not all of it, but he reads. So he's sort of way above his age group for the type of reading that he does. However, there are things that if we try to teach our children, they don't have the experience, they don't know. So there's a complete waste of time expecting, for instance, to expect my grandson to know higher math. And I think the universe is like that. We're human, but we're children, really. We know very, very little of the universe. What we know is like a little thumbnail sketch. We don't know a great deal about it, and so it's a bit like trying to fathom higher math. But as humans, we do like to put our things in boxes, don't we? And we do like to try to understand things, even if we don't have all the information. So it's, so I try not to delve too much into the higher math. And I think when I hear people saying about the 7 dimensions or the 13 dimensions, or this is how the universe is built and so on and so forth, I'm thinking, well, we don't really know. You're making, perhaps it's an educated guess, but it's a guess just the same. And you're basing that educated guess on knowledge. Education is about acquiring knowledge. The knowledge we have is so limited. So it's an educated guess with minimal knowledge, is what I think. I hope that makes some sense. Yes.
Okay, Twiggy is on. She says, good morning.
Good morning, Twiggy.
Terry has a comment, and she says that she's very glad that you're offering this, and thank you.
You're welcome. I hope you're going to join us, Terry. And we will, by the way, just to be clear, if you can't manage to go, sort of see us live on Facebook on Wednesday afternoon, we will be, downloading and then uploading, or is it uploading and then downloading? I'm never sure, but it will be on YouTube. You will be able to get it. You will be able to get the recordings on Facebook, and we're going to be putting it on YouTube as well. So you will be able to, sort of come in after the event is over, and it can have, just as much of a profound effect. Of course, it's always better live, isn't it? But so we hope you'll watch anyway. Any other questions? Any other comments?
Yes. Chris said, I was thinking alternate realities are frequency based. Anger has an energy frequency. Love, joy, happiness, anxiety, panic, fear all have different feelings, almost like notes in a symphony.
That's so true. Is that it? Is that what she's...
That's what she said.
Did she say anything else? No. Well, all right. So I'll add on to that. Thank you, Chris. I would add on to that and say, of course, everything is about energy. This whole universe of ours, this little planet of ours, this sofa of mine, this little puppy of mine, this little finger of mine, everything is about energy. It's all about energy. Everything is about energy. And when we're talking about healing, and we're talking about, I'm going to be showing you how you can give yourselves healing, and how you can how you can do all of this stuff for yourself. You don't need to be a genius to do this. But it's about learning about energy. It's learning about the different colors. Different colors denote different types of energy. So through the weeks and the months that we're going to be doing this, and we're going to be sending out healing to everybody, we'll be talking about those things as well. And I'll be helping people. For instance, if somebody says, I suffer with real anxiety, and I really have a difficult time with being anxious and so on and so forth, I have I have a method that I will teach you, and I will show you what to use and how to use it. And using visualization techniques helps, and certain colors will also help. So there's an awful lot to healing that a lot of people don't realize. Yes, it's about laying on of hands or sending out energy in whatever way you want to do it. Yes, it's about that. And yes, it's about prayer and sending out prayer. And I always join with that God force, that universal God force, that God energy to send out my healing. This is the way that I do it. Other people have different ways, but this is the way that I do it. But I also do use visualization techniques, and I do like my patients to have knowledge of those visualization techniques, because when you're sitting by yourself and and you've got a headache, or when you're sitting by yourself and you're really anxious or you're frustrated, whatever it is, what do? What can you do? I'm going to show you what you can do and how you can help yourself. It's going to be all about you, me. Just for that healing sessions. Those healing sessions require you to be selfish. It's okay to be selfish as long as you don't walk all over everybody else to be selfish. Let's have a next question, please, Michelle. Are you enjoying this show so far?
I am.
Okay, go.
Adriana says, why
Morning,
are there
Adriana.
so many spirits around us? Why those souls follow the light?
Well, why wouldn't you follow the light? It seems to me to be the only place that I would want to go. I want to go to the light because the light means that I shall be enlightened. The light means that I shall be welcomed. It's warming, it's comforting, it's embracing, it's all embracing. I've been very fortunate that I have actually traveled to the light. I know all about the light. I know all about what it feels like to be within that light. And I can tell you that's the place that I always say to my patients who are about to pass, okay, or you just keep in mind, all you have to do is think, where is that light? Look for the light, and you'll get there in a heartbeat, in a nanosecond, or whatever that might be. Let's go. Keep going, Michelle.
Okay. Kelly said, thank you. Do you think the same would apply to alternate realities and quantum jumping?
Again, we're dealing in areas. I know that the quantum leaps and all of that. I don't know a great deal about it, and I don't think anybody knows a great deal about it. Even quantum scientists don't know that much about it, because there is so, if years and years ago, the first telescope was born, and people looked through it and said, wow, because you could see the stars, wow, because you could see the moon. And then somebody built a bigger telescope, and then somebody built a bigger telescope, and on and on and on. And each time the telescopes are built, we see more and more of the universe, and we realize that it's like it just keeps going on and on. So the more knowledge we have, the more we know, but the more we must realize how little we know, because it don't matter how big the telescope, we never come to the end of it, do we? We never can get to the end of that universe. It still just keeps going on out there. So what we know of quantum science is fascinating, actually. I find it fascinating. I find it interesting. The idea of quantum leaps and the idea of all of this, being able to leap from level to level, or from space to space, or from universe to universe. It's fascinating, but at the same time, even the most educated of us is a baby, because guess what happens? Somebody's going to build a bigger and a better telescope, and we'll see more. And then everything that we thought we knew will get unraveled, because now we know more. So we have, no matter how much knowledge we do have, it's still limited as far as the universe is concerned. That's my feeling. Let's have another question.
Kitty asks, can healing sessions heal your mind or your heart?
Yes, and yes, and yes. Yes.
Chris said, I can't wait to participate in the virtual healing sessions.
Well, Chris happens to be one of my students. how long have you been with me, Chris, and how long did you train with me? And she's an amazing and a fabulous healer, and so I'm hoping not only is she going to participate by sort of joining in and watching and so on, she's going to be participating by being occasionally on the screen. She's going to be participating by actually helping me to send out healing to all of you. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have my friend Kay. I'm so excited. I'm going to have my friend Kay from England coming. She's one of my oldest students, one of my most difficult students. She's wonderful, but she is going to be here on one of these virtual things, and the two of us are going to be sending out healing to you. But also my team of healers, which we have around the world, they're going to be participating in sending out healing. We're going to have all this energy pouring out to everyone who wants it, everyone who needs it, everyone who wants to participate. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But we're not just going to be sending out energy, and we're going to be taking questions. We're going to be fielding comments. I just warn you, if you send in a comment that is negative in any way, shape or form, we will not even bother to answer it, and we'll block you. Just so don't go there, don't bother. It's a waste of time with us, because we're not even going to buy into it. But we're excited about this, and Kay actually doesn't know that she's going to be participating on camera with me. She's probably going to be saying no. And we're also going to have her and her two of her daughters. Unfortunately, the third one can't come because she's got a little boy she has to stay at home with. But Kay and two of her girls are going to be here. I am like their surrogate mummy. We're going to have some fun with that. Not next week, but the week after. So
Chris said 20 years, 4 years to receive her certificate.
So, is it 20? Gosh, are we that old, Chris? All right, so Chris was in my healing group. She was a student of mine, and apparently it took her 4 years. Yes, I know. You don't join my group and get a certificate in 6 months. I'm not that kind of person. You have to go through a thorough and proper training, which means that then Chris helps with our online courses, and she helps with healing. So, because I know her, I trust her. She's had thorough training. She's gone through that training, which is not easy training, because you've got me as a teacher. I know everybody thinks I'm nice, but I'm a tough teacher. So, and we've known each other for 20 years. So, so of course she's going to participate. Let's have another question.
Naomi says
Morning,
that
Naomi.
She's very excited about your healing sessions, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Roxanne must have just joined us because she has healing sessions with a question mark.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to, you're going to have to go back to the beginning of this, darling, as soon as we're finished, and go back and take a look. I will reiterate, it's almost time, not quite, we've got time for a couple more questions, but we are going to be once a week starting next Wednesday. If you want to know more about it, you must email us, rosemary@rosemaryaLtea.com. If you want to be on my mailing list, you have to request it. We don't put you automatically on just because you sent us an email. So you must send us an email requesting, please put me on your mailing list, and we shall do that. Being on our mailing list means that anything that we're doing that is new or different, or any information that we can give, it just goes out. We do not send emails out every day. We do not send emails out several times a week. I think we send 1 or 2 emails a week out. So that's all you're going to get from us. Don't be afraid that if you're on our email list, you're going to be inundated with emails from us, because that's not how it works. But if you're on our email list, you will get notifications of when the healing sessions are going to be. You will get notifications of when everything is attitude, or if we're changing, from how we do our YouTube channels, all that sort of thing. And we're going to be doing conferences. The healing sessions are just the beginning. So basically, you will join with me. It will be 45 minutes to an hour. I'm going to be sending healing hands around the world. I'm going to be sending healing out to all of those who like to participate. we're going to be taking questions. If you are a patient and you've got a particular problem, you do need to, I would advise you to write it in so that we've got it ahead of time. Because if you just, if you use, there will be an opportunity for us to sort of, you'll be able to ask questions there and then. But if there are too many of you, we won't get to all of you. But if you, if you write to us and, get on our healing list, it will be on the healing page, which is the same page that Everything is Attitude is on. Again, if you don't know what that means, email me. Again, I'm going to say Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. Email us, we'll give you all of that information, and you must request, please put us on your mailing list. The competition, let's go back to the competition. We're getting some fabulous things in. I mentioned about the little gremlin bells, or actually the bells that capture the gremlins. That came in from Dustin. I so appreciate it, Dustin. Thank you very much. It's a biker's thing. Apparently, you put it on the lowest part of your bike, and all those nasty little road gremlins that like to get into your machinery get into the bell. They get stuck instead. The bell makes all this loud noise, and it knocks the gremlins away from your bike and knocks them back onto the road, to perhaps do damage to somebody else's bike maybe, but yours is safe. Anyway, so superstitions are fun. If you want to join this contest, you must subscribe to YouTube. It costs you nothing. Click the button. Nothing happens. Nothing. You're not going to get all these millions of notifications that we all hate. Click on subscribe, and then you are eligible to join our competition. Unfortunately, the competition is only available to those of you who are in the USA, simply because we have issues in sending out prizes, with the tax and the inland revenues and all of those people, those people you have to go through the borders and all of that stuff, and we don't want to get involved in any of that. The prize is 3 people. It will be 3 people. I will choose the most fun or interesting or curious or whatever. I am the judge, I'm sorry to say, but I shall choose 3 fun or something anyway, interesting superstitions. I'd love if you can manage it, if you write in your superstition, if you could sort of give some idea of where it came from or the origin of it. That would be fun, but you don't have to. And the winners get my new book, A Walk in the Clouds, plus they will get the CD of my Eagle and the Rose with my beautiful dulcet tones, because I'm the one who reads the book. What an amazing prize. Anyway, so keep those coming in. We love to have them anyway. We're just having lots of fun. We're reading all of these things. We're having so much fun with them. Is there anything else any questions, any comments, Michelle?
There is one more question from Kevin.
Okay, good morning, Kevin.
And he says, good morning, Rosemary.
Morning.
Do you have time today to share with us a story about a contact you had with a soul?
I'll tell you the rat story. It's not really a story about connecting with a soul, although it sort of is. So many years ago, Kevin, and for all of you listening, I had a lovely lady. She was beautiful. She was a young woman, and she had a son who was around 5 years old, and he had very severe multiple sclerosis, or no, it wasn't multiple sclerosis. What was it? It was anyway, something like that. He was extremely disabled, very disabled. She was happily married. She had a wonderful husband, and they were excited to have this son, and unfortunately he was born with this awful disease. He was completely and utterly crippled. Anyway, within 3 to 4 months, after she'd had this child and they were said he would never get better, he just would get worse. uh, Her husband first of all tried to convince her that, you know, they couldn't manage him. She insisted that they could. She was not going to let her baby be brought up by anyone else. She was a mother, true to mothering. Some people really can't manage, and that's okay, but she felt she could manage. Anyway, her husband up and left her, literally holding this child. Um, about a year later, he went back for all of 5 minutes, got her pregnant, and left again. And she had a perfectly healthy baby girl, but he didn't want anything to do with her because he couldn't handle the son. Now, this lady used to come to me once a week for healing, believe it or not. And I would give the son healing, and he used to get very agitated, and you know, of course, he wasn't able to talk or make known what he needed or wanted, but he would respond really, really well to his healing, as she would too. Anyway, she told me a lot about her husband for a second there. Anyway, so now we have you know, this situation. All right, fast forward a little bit. During the course of my dealing with this lady, I was also having work done on the house, and I had this great builder, and he used to do all the plumbing and all the other stuff as well, and I was literally having things torn about and so on. Let me just, I've got someone trying to call in, and believe it or not, it's my daughter, who should know better, but anyway, she doesn't. There we are. Anyway, so can you still hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay, so all right. So anyway, so he was having all of this work done. And I think I mentioned earlier in the show that because they were knocking holes through the walls and so on and so forth, we'd had an infestation of rats. So it came time for the guy to there was a closet in the kitchen which used to hold coats, and behind the pipes as he's coming in and he's tearing out the pipes and so on, it looked as if there was a black fur hat. Sorry, I'm going to try and do that again. It looked like there was a black fur hat that was stuck behind the pipes. So he got in behind the pipes, this builder, and he hugged and he tucked and he pulled and he did this, that and the other, and apparently he almost fell off the stool. When he finally pulled out what he thought was a hat, it was actually a dead rat, which he pulled out, and it went right in his face. And I wasn't in the house at the time. He screamed and screamed, and when I got back into the house, he was sitting white as a sheet, trembling, shaking, right? Now, it was a bit upsetting because earlier that morning he'd been telling me about his wife, and they'd just had their first baby, and it was a son, and he was so excited about his new wife having this wonderful baby and all this stuff and so on. So now here he is, and he started screaming at me because of this rat. I didn't know there was a rat in the cupboard. It got nothing to do with me. Now, here is where the two stories join. Some of you will have already figured it out. It turns out that the young builder guy who had a new wife and a new baby, and it was his first baby, and he was so excited, was the same guy who had left this poor woman with his first son, who he obviously refused to acknowledge. And if he wasn't a rat, this man, for abandoning her, because he didn't even pay financial support, he didn't pay financial support to his daughter, didn't help this woman out, didn't help his first wife out. If he was a rat, wanting to face a rat, I couldn't have picked a better person for it to have happened. I felt badly at the time, but somebody said on the show, do I believe in karma? I think that's a little bit of karma right there. The rat was faced with a rat, and he was a rat for abandoning his wife. I understand people who can't manage, who can't deal with these things, but nevertheless, on a financial basis, at least help out, or at least try your best to help out in a situation, even if you can't handle it for yourself. Did you understand that story? Do we have any comments? Kevin, I know it's not a story about me connecting with the soul, but I promise next week I will tell you a story about how I connected with someone in the spirit world, what was said and what happened, and how probably I'm thinking I've got a story in mind, and what a wonderfully happy ending it was at the end of the day. Any other comments that we have?
Nope, I think we're about done for the day.
Email me, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, if you want to be in the competition. Make sure the subject is competition or whatever that is. If you want to be on the mailing list, please request on the mailing list. Watch for us next Wednesday for our live healing session, where I will be totally showing you as a healer how I work. I will be sending out my healing to all of you who want to participate. I will be showing you how, as healers, you can give healing to yourself, and how you can perhaps even help others, other people, either your loved ones or your patients. If you are a healer yourself, you can learn something. But if you simply just want to join in because you just want healing, don't be afraid to be selfish. I advocate selfishness in healing. So it's going to be 45 minutes to an hour of it's going to be all about you, me, giving something to all of you. It's going to be fabulous. And as a healer, don't think, oh, poor Rosemary's going to be exhausted at the end of it, because that's not how it works. Because when you give, you receive tenfold. So I'll be showing you how to receive healing, how to bring it into you, how to receive that energy, how to bring it into you, how to breathe, how to use your solar plate. I'm going to be showing all sorts of things. Anyway, I'm not going to say any more about it. Join us next Wednesday. Everything is Attitude tomorrow. We'll be talking a little bit more about healing. And next week we're going to have a guest, I think, but we should be Everything is Attitude live with Al on our healing Facebook page. Again, if you want to know more about that, email us, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, and we'll tell you how to get on there. Everything is Attitude with my co-host Al Pisano tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we should be back here again next week, but I'll see you, hopefully some of you, on Wednesday. Spread the word. What is it I have to say to you? Share, 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 and share again. We are going to now upload or download this, or whatever it is we do. Michelle is going to be putting information out about different things. And so until I see you again next week, or hopefully tomorrow night, please, 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 have a very, very, very blessed rest of the day, and please do have a joyful and a wonderful weekend. Bye. That's it. How do I click this out, Michelle? No idea how to do it. How do we do it? Oh, there we are. There we are.